one's Lee.
Hey, what's Lee doing over here?
How did he get here so fast?
Whoa, mines.
Is that a real person?
Hey, 马书记他回来了。
找到了，找到了，找到了，
This is coal on my finger from Tunnel 3 I was just in. North Korea dug it to infiltrate South Korea. And they put coal all over the walls to make it look like an abandoned coal mine. However, all the drilling was going in one direction, straight towards South Korea, which leads them to believe that they were using it as infiltration. Got some on my finger. We couldn't have cameras down there. Here's a part of the tunnel that they filled up with water. Tunnel 3.
So that's the thing they filled up, huh? Oh, now.
The building was reconstructed in 1998 by the Ministry of Unification and the Republic of Korea's government to house talks between North and South Korean families which had been separated by the war. Unfortunately, though, it's never actually been used for this purpose, for the North Koreans will now allow their citizens to cross south of the MDL for fear of defection. Now, currently, the Korean National Red Cross does hold offices on the 3rd floor. Oh, still. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, the Korean National Red Cross does hold offices on the 3rd floor. This allows them to communicate with the North Korean Red Cross so that way they can facilitate the repatriation of civilian personnel, either the ones who have gotten lost on the seas or the unfortunate ones that drowned in the river floods. Now, once again, while we're in this area, we will be under close observation by North Korea. So please do not point, wave, gesture, try to communicate with them in any manner. While we're moving through the area, I must ask that you do not stop to take any photos. Once we reach the areas that we'll be briefing about, you'll have plenty of opportunity for photos in both areas. So our Jones group first will head into the MAC building, and once they clear the area, we'll head out on the conference row. After a few minutes, we'll switch places in both spots so that everyone will have plenty of opportunity for photos. All right, if I can have everyone line up here on the top step for me, please.
Fan out.
Plenty of room for everyone to spread it across. All I ask is that you please stay within the little areas of the steps. Do not go past the left and right ends of them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Conference Row. It's the official meeting place between the United Nations Command, or the UNC, and the North Koreans, or the KPA. All the blue buildings you see here belong to the United Nations Command, while all the gray tan buildings belong to the KPA. The first blue building over here to my far left, your far right, is the Joint Duty Officer building, or JDO. The JDO is an American officer and serves as the official representative for the United Nations Command Military Armistice Commission. He's also charged with daily communications between North and South Korea. Across from the JDO building on the small hill, you notice a 2-story tan building. This is KPA Guard Post number 2. And once again, they do currently monitor us 24 hours a day. So please do not point, wave, gesture, try to communicate. You're going to hear me say this repeatedly because nobody listens. Just south of the guard post, you will notice the white stakes that represent the military demarcation lines that runs through this area. Once again, behind me, it's marked with the 17 by 5-inch concrete slab in between the buildings. The first great building here on Conference Row is the North Koreans Recreation Center. Rather ironically named, this fort houses no recreational equipment. It generally houses 10 to 20 armed KPA soldiers during the officer level talks. When these soldiers are in here, they also have a tendency to pull back the curtains. No point at us, no wave at us, and they make rather rude gestures, such as a throat slash. It is due to these childlike antics that we have nicknamed it the Monkey House. T3 next to it is used by the JDO for Colonel and Staff Officer level talks. These communications are generally for small armaments violations, such as the KPA not wearing the armbands anymore, or when they will decide to have the next General Officer level meeting. T2 next to it is used by the JDO for Colonel and Staff Officer level talks. We'll visit here in just a moment. T1 next to it is used by the Neutral Nations Supervisory Commission, or NNSC, to hold their weekly meetings. This is where they'll discuss the number of troops inside Korea, the number of troops near the DMZ, and the number of troops inside the DMZ, all of which is regulated by the Armistice Agreement. The large gray building on the other side of the Neutral Nations building is the former Czech and Polish Neutral Nations building. The reason I say former is because in 1993, Czechoslovakia divided into two countries, the Czech Republic and Slovakia. Because of this, North Korea felt they were no longer acting on their behalf for the Neutral Nations and booted them out. In 1995, Poland was systematically cut off from food, water, and electricity due to their country's attempts to turn to democracy, and they were eventually forced to leave. It's due to this fact that this building is no longer used by the Czechoslovakian and Polish neutral nations, and then now Polish will come in on biannual meetings to our side. On the other side of Conference Zone, you notice a large three-story building. This is the Panmunjom, or the North Korean Visitor Center. Sir. The Panmunjom, or the North Korean Visitor Center. The Panmunjom also serves as a two-man guard post. As you can see, there is one soldier standing out outside on today. The other soldier is inside the building to his right in the small window with a large camera taking our pictures today. You may also notice that the third story of this building is different from the rest of it. That's because in 1994, they added the third story, slanted it slightly, to make it look larger and more impressive than the original Freedom House that once stood behind you. When we rebuilt the Freedom House in 1998, we actually had to go through a series of special meetings just to ensure that both buildings stood at the exact same height. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, I invite you to go and ask.
I think it's pretty cool.
Well, you can, maybe a small technological difference is their cameras are in-hang cameras, and then we've got 40 freaking huge cameras.
There are 17 cameras on the North Korean side that are visible to the eye right now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Some that are visible to the eye.
Oh, Lord. Oh my God.
Please don't void, ma'am.
Over there. That's why I can see through the window.
Is this the official?
You are welcome to take pictures with them, but please do not disturb them. Please do not try and pass by them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Military Armistice Commission Building, or MAC Building. This housed the 4 original types of talks essential to the overseeing of the Armistice Agreement, and is currently used for the General Officer level meetings. These meetings have an average of lasting between 3 to 4 hours. There is one on record that lasted 11.5 hours. Both sides sat at either side of the table staring each other down, and for fear of looking weak to the other side by even getting up to go to the bathroom, they let it go on for 11.5 hours. Now, all talks in this building are translated into 2 languages, Hangul or Korean, and English. It used to be done with translators working at either end of the building. Now the booths are no longer used, and the translators sit here at the heads of the table. This also helps avoid any one side sitting at the head. The microphones you see on the table here are manually recorded 24 hours a day. Everything that's said in here is kept on record. Please, ma'am, stay on this side of the soldier truck, try not to go behind you. The microphones here are manually recorded 24 hours a day, also along with the UN flag, represent the military demarcation line as it runs through the building. In other words, those of you on my left are standing in Communist North Korea, all the rest of us are still representing the Republic of Korea. That's North Korea. You may have noticed that some of the soldiers outside today are standing half exposed on the edge of the building. This is so that way they can keep eyes on North Korea, but at the same time have cover in case they're fired upon. All the ROC soldiers here have gone to college before coming here. Most of them hold their bachelor's, while those who do not will generally continue on with college once they finish their military service. All the ROC soldiers here are required to have a black belt in Taekwondo or better. Most hold black belts in Taekwondo, Hapkido. This one also holds an additional one in Jiu-Jitsu. You are welcome to take pictures with the ROC soldiers, but please do not disturb them. Now, if you have any questions, once again, please feel free to ask. I will be standing over here on the safe side. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the United Nations Command Checkpoint 3. If you remember from the slide brief, you were told upon your arrival you'd be surrounded on 3 sides. I'd like to point this out for you right now. If you look over here to my left, your right, you notice the white stakes that represent the military demarcation lines that runs through here, as well as one of the yellow and black panel marker signs. Now, it is mostly rust-colored, but it has been sitting here for 57 years. The more MDL will continue on down the same path line, move out to where the trees get taller behind me. Once it reaches those trees, it makes an abrupt 90-degree left-hand turn, bisects the Sancheon River, and heads out west to the Han estuaries. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, that is North Korea. That is North Korea. And that is Communist North Korea. Now, if you look out at this hill about 2,000 meters out, just beyond the Iron Tower, you will notice what appears to be a backwards J-shaped dirt road on the left-hand side of it. This is the northern boundary to the demilitarized zone. Now, if you remember from where we came in at, from the southern boundary, hopefully this will give you a better aspect as to how wide the area actually is. Just to the left of the hill, you will notice another one of the KPA guard posts. This is guard post number 5. They do monitor us 24 hours a day, just as we do them with checkpoint 3 behind you. At about 2,500 meters out, at the edge of the wood line on the small hill, you will notice a cluster of buildings, one of which holds a blue rooftop. This is the former Czech and Polish neutral nations camp. Now, since Czechoslovakia and Poland have left in 1993 and 1995, this camp is no longer being used for the NNSC. At about 1,200 meters out, directly behind me, you will notice a cluster of trees wrapping around a small A-frame shaped roof-topped house. This is the North Korean People's Peace Museum. This is the building that was where the Armistice Agreement was actually signed, and is rather ironically named the People's Peace Museum, for it holds 2 of the axes used during the 1976 axe murder incident. Now, barely visible on the far horizon mountaintops, you'll notice a small iron tower poking straight up into the distance. This is one of the jamming towers used by the North Koreans to block telephone signals, radio signals, and television signals from going into their country to help isolate their country from the rest of the world. You might even notice right now that you don't have any cell phone service. At the end of the road here, you'll notice a little blue checkpoint. This is checkpoint 4. This is the focal point of the 1976 axe murder incident, and will give us more information once we get down to the area. If you skim along the tree line, you will notice the beginnings of a brown rooftop poking up just above the tree line about 100 meters past checkpoint 4. This is the KPA guard post number 7. It is still manned 24 hours a day. However, checkpoint 4 is no longer manned, because anything that can be seen from checkpoint 4 can now easily be seen from checkpoint 3 without endangering soldiers. And lastly, to the far left, we have the village of Kijongdong, a propaganda village. As you can see today, the flag is trying to fly, but it's not flying very successfully. As for it takes a very strong gust of wind to move the flag, for it has a dry weight of over 600 pounds. It takes about a 30 to 40 man crew to raise and lower the flag. They must do so during inclement weather such as the monsoon season, for if it gets completely soaked, it would tear under its own weight. Now, the village itself is mostly a facade. The reason we know this is for when they used to have electricity inside the village, you can watch them light a single light bulb in the top of each building from checkpoint 3 here, and you can see the light get dimmer as it worked its way to the bottom of the building, showing us there was no doors, floors, furniture, windows, or anything else inside the buildings. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, I invite you to go ahead and ask myself, Sergeant Byung, and when everyone's done taking pictures, we'll head back onto the buses and move on with our tour.
So where did the axe murders happen?
Just down here at the end of this road, you'll notice the grassy area in front of the little blue checkpoint. That's to give you a better idea how to build block view of checkpoint 3 up on the hill and checkpoint 4 in front of us.
Yeah, that's a big truth.
The last Americans to cross the bridge and no return was Commander Buser and his crew of the SS Bravo in 1968, after being held captive by North Koreans for 11.5 months. The blue pylons you see in front of the bridge here were placed here to avoid any more vehicle traffic from coming across the bridge, for this used to be the only access route the KPA had into the JSA. When we closed down the border in '76, we also closed down the bridge, but we allotted them 3 days of usage of the bridge while they constructed a new one, so that way they could access the Panmunjom from their side of the border, which they did so, and it's about 800 meters down on the Sancheon River, and is referred to as the 72-hour bridge. And for those of you who are wondering, this is not the bridge that James Bond crossed during the movie.